The fuck was that?
I wanted to smell the internet. No, I don't. I shut up. I didn't think about the words that come out of my mouth.
I assumed you were doing one of those sound things. What the fuck are those called?
ASMR.
Yes.
Hey, don't encourage him to learn weird
Good
shit on the
evening. It's June 5th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
That Abram hadn't seen Two Girls, One Cup.
And that he wants to smell the internet through the microphone.
Fucking true.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
And I have no desire to smell the internet through the microphone.
You two
It's about like
sleep
that.
and breathe politics, but I'm learning. That's three unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. So this is Monday. I forgot to say that. I'm bad at this.
Yeah, it's just the news. We won't editorialize.
Just the news Monday,
Right.
y'all. And I have some fun
Why don't
stuff.
you like, comment, subscribe, and send me a KFC bucket full of money?
I
There you go.
decided to see what the Fox Newsies
Okay,
are
so-
talking about, so I
Ah.
got a couple of stories to share with you.
All
all
right,
at the
this'll be
end.
good.
So
Thought I heard
let's dig right
something
into
pop
our
out here.
headlines. Russia loses another general in Donbass.
Major General Roman Kutuzov, commander of the 1st Army Corps, Orks, of the despotic Putin Republic, has been officially denazified and demilitarized.
I misheard what you said. I thought he had been shot in the penis.
Oh. Anyway, he's been denazified and demilitarized. And that was the news announcement from the armed forces of Ukraine Sunday. The Russians have since acknowledged that a general died in Donbass. So I guess they ran out of colonels to send to the front to lead the men by example.
Right?
Oh, God.
I don't know, but if the U.S. can lose $4 billion in the desert of Iraq, they can lose one Lockheed Ginsu missile and just shoot one Russian general in the nuts with one.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, and it's an absolute waste, and that's fine.
But hell, it'd be fun to watch.
Man, he would fuck up everyone in the room with him.
So prior to being sent to Donetsk, he served as the chief of staff for the 29th Combined Arms Army of the Eastern Military District of Russia. So they just keep wasting their generals. What can I tell you? I think they're up to 13 dead now, or maybe 14. It's a bunch of generals.
Aren't they saying that Russia now has 20% of Ukraine under control?
For the moment.
Yeah, that's a doubling since
Is that
taking
including?
Crimea.
Yeah, I was gonna say that must include Crimea.
It must.
Yeah.
So,
And so now they've spent a lot of their munitions, and
Right.
they've driven forward and shot at a bunch of people.
I bet they're
and
running low on tanks.
we'll see if their supply lines are any good.
Well,
Yeah.
they weren't at the beginning. I can't
Well,
And
imagine
I
they're
doubt
better.
seriously they are
yeah,
now.
none of this is the part that gets better over time.
Right.
So, right, this isn't like they pushed their infantry in and did 6 months of weirdo light infantry shit.
Yeah.
Right, so they got really good at playing in the trees.
This is they ground their way in a short
Yeah.
distance. And now they're
Yeah.
going to get ground out, I
Yeah.
think. So anyway, we'll see what Ukraine has in store for them. I do hope we've sent a bunch more javelins.
Yep.
So,
That
And
would be
one
fun.
lost Lockheed RX-7.
right.
RX-9.
But I do love that has been officially denazified and demilitarized.
See, that's why it was easy to miss here. But yes, no, that is fabulous.
Ah. Oh, you thought it was denutsified.
Whatever.
Well, we can hope that happened.
What about D's nuts? Russia whines about treatment of their media.
So, the Russian Foreign Ministry has summoned the heads of the U.S. media outlets in Moscow to a meeting on Monday
I wouldn't go.
to notify them of
wouldn't
tough
either.
measures in response to U.S. restrictions on Russian media. As if the work of Russian media operators and journalists is not normalized in the United States, the most stringent measures will inevitably follow.
I would close.
I'm sorry.
Are they threatening
Who
to
the-
murder
well,
our media heads?
No,
in
they're just going to
Moscow?
put restrictions on them so that the people in the United States don't get any news from shitholistan. Why would anybody care? Who the fuck gives a goddamn what happens in Russia? They are a nobody. So, I mean, it's one of those, who the fuck do they think they are?
They
Yeah,
think
they're not-
they're the
they're not even-
USSR.
They're not even close to being members of the G7. They are barely members of the G20. And so I think we have to think about the impact Russia has on the world, right? So we have to think about GDP, where Russia's GDP is 1.5 trillion. Compare that to the United States at 21 trillion. So Russia kind of fits in with Florida at 1.1 trillion and Spain at 1.3 trillion. Or we could look at GDP per capita. And in Russia, it's $10,000. In the US, it's $63,000. In Florida, it's $44,000. And in Spain, it's $28,000. Russia is a pathetic third world shithole. Why would anybody care what's going on there? And we now understand, right, having watched their military in Ukraine, is these people haven't done any maintenance in 30 years. I would be genuinely surprised if more than 10% of their missiles come out of the silos if they're asked to. Just thunderstruck.
Yeah.
So, anyway, fuck them. Fuck shitholistan. So, and yes, U.S. media should be perfectly happy to simply leave Russia, period.
That's what I'd be tempted to do.
Yeah, just pack up and go.
Yep.
Fire all your Russians, close your shop, take all your computers and everything with you, and just let them rot. The hell with them. Who cares?
Your
And then I
contract
would
absolutely
encourage-
let you out if Russia devolves. There's no way you, right.
Yeah.
And if not, fucking break your contract and make that argument.
Yep. No, and I would more than happily encourage all of the European nations to do the same. Just walk away. Then Putin can lie to his, 120 million people? And the rest of the world can ignore the stupid fucktard.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
The stupid cancerous fucktard.
Fair. GOP committee has embarrassing ad pulled off the air.
I saw the headline. I never ran it down. What's going on?
Oh my God.
And
So,
I can
anyway.
hum the song.
The Republican Senatorial Committee has actually had 2 ads attacking Democrats that were blatantly misleading, and they were pulled off the air. That never happened.
No.
Right? Stations take those complaints and they, kind of, look the other way and so forth. It is far less common for the offending ads to be yanked from public view by local television stations,
good.
which is what has happened to them.
Hey, local media, you can do it.
Yep.
I'd believe in free press if you existed again.
Yeah.
Most of the time, stations don't want to be involved in adjudicating who's right and who's wrong and so forth.
That used to be hard.
But if they're so brazenly dishonest that they're completely unsupportable, yeah, local stations will take them off.
This is one good outcome of the crazy virus raging through the Republican Party.
Yep. They were running an ad claiming that gas prices under Senator Maggie Hansen, Democrat, New Hampshire, had increased 23% during her prior tenure of governor, which turned out not only to be false,
I was going to say.
but to be false based on the reference that the GOP cited. So, again, I'm sorry,
Look at their footnotes.
one of the things I think we see happening is that as the GOP has turned into this cult of personality, right, where the only thing that matters is your MAGA-ness, that there are fewer and fewer competent people who are being considered for positions.
Yeah.
And they make mistakes like this.
The fact that I've had conversations with people who have said to me, facts depend on where you heard them from. They change depending on who you heard them from. And I said, do you even understand the definition of a fact? Because a fact
These are
does not
alternate facts.
change.
Stop. I think that's more interesting than we think. I think that means we should argue more about the truth because the truth is irrelevant, right? Is disinterested in either side's argument. It just is. Just as a rhetorical thing, I think that means we should avoid the phrase facts.
Okay.
Since that appears
We can
to be
say
a more-
truth instead of facts. Yeah. Well, and it didn't take Trump and his friends how long? A week to create the alternate facts.
Yep.
So
Fake news. And
Yeah.
all that shit.
Yeah.
No, it just scares me that in today's day and age, there are people out there who truly believe that facts depend on where you read it.
Yeah.
That is terrifying
well,
to me.
absolutely. If you get it from Fox News, it's a false fact.
Well, and so much
No,
of
the worst
what
part is these people don't even watch Fox News, don't listen to them.
I think it's part of a deeper coping
Then I can't
mechanism
help 'em.
for many people. I think it's right to deal with the world as fucked up as this is. They have built an intellectual architecture that allows them to invent little stories about how the bureaucracy just fucked up. And so it's nothing personal. It's better, and that's fine. Like if that's what keeps them out of the bell tower, all about it, buddy. You do you.
Yep.
But I don't
Okay.
know.
But again, there's more and more evidence that they bring that to bear in their everyday personal
Yes.
lives, which is how they get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
So, all right.
All right, a money grab from the very beginning. What is
no.
Oh, this one is wonderful. God, I love this. So, you remember the People's Convoy, right? They started out with 50-something
Yeah.
trucks and so forth and so on.
Yeah, they're gonna stop.
Drove across the country, right? And sat in some truck park in Maryland and went out and drove slowly on the Washington Beltway and were offended that people were flipping them the bird. A couple of them got arrested for being pigtards. It's just great. So now they've suddenly decided that there were all these people who were collecting money for the People's Convoy in support of the People's Convoy to the tune of about $1.8 million, and nobody knows where the money went.
Well, I mean, I can guess.
Well, I can
into
tell you,
somebody's pocket?
Hookers and Bitcoin.
it was a money grab from the very beginning. I'm quoting one of their people.
And I am hoping it went into hookers and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because at least the hookers got paid.
There you go.
And Bitcoin, how's that doing again? That's not so good recently, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Russians were a big portion of that market.
Oh,
Anyway.
Lord. So anyway, their demands for an independent audit
Oh,
and
what? Shut up.
to review the more than 1.8 million in donations received over 3 months. This is the
Any of you afford a lawyer? Then it's gonna
AFCLF.
happen.
What was I've forgotten what it stood for.
Sorry, where were they?
Anyway,
West
it was
Virginia? Is that where their truck stop was? I'm sure that's a pro-business state. You're going to have a hard time getting
Yeah.
any of the stuff you guys are talking
So
about.
anyway, they're each pointing at the other saying, oh no, they're accountable for the money and so forth and so on and so on. So, hey, folks, one more time. These people used you. They sheared you like blind sheep. And they're going to
Leave.
do it every
Yep.
single time. And these are the people you keep looking up to be your leaders. When are you going to wake up? And is the Democratic Party better? Yeah, we're better. Are we perfect? Fuck no, not even close. But we're better than that.
Yep. Yeah, we aren't picking between like a pretty choice and an ugly choice. Like both
Yeah.
the choices are pretty drunk and probably shouldn't be driving. One of them can't find their feet. Let's go with the other one, the one that can at least stand up.
Yeah.
The one who knows what a car is. No, Democrats, go for it.
Hey, Democrats, make some progress on the things that matter to working folks. That would be a living wage, decent health, national health care, right? And if you want a third thing to work on, let's get some mental health tucked into that
'cause I
health
believe
care.
they can do walking and chewing gum at the same time.
Yeah, so if you're going to work on one, work on the minimum wage,
Yep.
which right now should be about $24 an hour.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Right.
either fix it or enjoy having Trump as president in 2024,
Yep.
which will be entirely the fault of the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Agreed. Boomer Rex is about damn time. Tell me the good
Oh my God, I
news.
love this
I love good
one.
news.
So the former leader of the far-right Proud Boys was served with a succeeding indictment on Monday on a new federal charge of seditious conspiracy, along with 4 other top leaders of the group. The charges against Henry Enrique Tarrio expand the Justice Department's allegations of an organized plot to unleash political violence to prevent the confirmation of President Biden's election victory. New 10-count superseding indictment charges Tario, Dominique Pizzola, and 3 other co-defendants, Ethan Nordine of Seattle, Joe Biggs of the Daytona Beach area, and Zachary Rail of Philadelphia, with coordinating travel to Washington and the movements of the group around the Capitol and so forth. Superseding indictment adds 2 charges to earlier indictments, one for seditious conspiracy and 1 count of conspiracy to prevent an officer from discharging any duties. So, all defendants now face a total of 9 charges, and Pizzola faces an additional robbery charge. And they're scheduled to appear for a hearing on June 9th, when I'm sure they'll whine that they should be turned loose.
Huh, God, yeah.
So,
And
anyway,
one of them's a snitch.
welcome.
I would say for the money for the truckers that we should do this sort of gangland style. Take the NSA's 3 hops on both parties.
Yeah.
Freeze every account you find
Oh, I like that.
and see which sides complain the least.
Yeah,
Because one who's got access to 8 million or whatever the missing pile of money is down to now.
1.8.
Sure. But one of those sides has that money.
Right, and they're going to be upset when you freeze it.
Well, they're going to be less upset than the other side because I assume they're not going to touch their criminal money. Unless they're valued. But anyway.
Anyway, it'll be fun to watch.
All right, a mass of the day.
Oh, so a Republican caller suggested on C-SPAN he was ready to fight and die in an insurrection against the government to protect his right to own firearms, called himself Gene, and told C-SPAN's Washington Journal that the Second Amendment was intended to protect citizens from a tyrannical government, which is partly true.
Yep.
He said, let's get it straight. It has nothing to do with hunting or sports. Second Amendment is for people to protect themselves. And you think that the guns, the government will overwhelm anything that the population has, and you're probably right. Well, we'll fight and we'll die. Exactly what we've done in the past. Yeah, right. Anyway, these folks are just,
Crazy.
yeah,
Out of their
Loony.
gourds.
yeah,
Losing their minds.
Committed to a last stand mentality, and therefore all of their imagery comes out of the same toy box.
absolutely.
No, they're decisively engaged.
Yep.
That's bad.
He added, we will do away with the government itself. Yeah,
If you listen
right.
to 2 stanzas of his complaint, you can probably even guess at which particular branches of government failed him.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Right? Who killed his parent or sibling or whatever.
All right.
So no, that's why I can see these kids as a tragic tale till they're, making off
Until
with
they
fucking
actually-
leg turns and shit.
Yeah.
I do think the Democrats should find the Democrats that can speak to the rage most coherently and push them to the fore, but
Yep.
Fair.
I'd be running AOC on Fox News.
I was going to
all
say,
the
I think
time.
AOC could make a good argument,
Uh-huh.
right?
And they're going to say something dumb, and she gets to go, that's just some made-up bullshit.
Yeah.
Cancun Cruz runs his mouth again.
So anyway, good old Cancun Cruz says, America's the freest, most prosperous, and safest country on earth. Nothing could be further from the truth. So, we are an outlier throughout the 21st century. Between 2003 and 2015, our death rate increased from 10.2 to 11.2 per 100,000. During that same period, civilized countries saw a drop in their firearms death rate. Since then, ours has gone up even more, and whereas in 2003 our death rate was 7.5 times higher, by 2010 it was 10 times higher, and 2015 it was 11.4 times higher than other high-income countries. Of course, there's a real problem. The problem with that is that we're comparing ourselves to, quote, high-income countries, when, of course, we're not one of those. We are a failed state. Yes, our average income looks pretty good, but 40% of America can't hack a $400 unexpected bill.
Yeah.
So, again, we are a failed state, and we should not be
gross.
compared to the civilized nations of Western Europe. We should be compared to Yemen.
Well,
So,
yes, but that has more to do with comparing us to other white countries, and...
oh, yeah. No, but in terms of gun ownership and distribution of wealth,
Oh, yeah.
we're a good match for Yemen,
The
which has
closest-
just about the
Yep.
death rate we do.
Yes, and it's the
So.
closest in terms of most heavily armed countries, second only to us.
Yep.
Literally, in this case.
Yep.
So if you want to know what an America suddenly dissolved looks like, it's not whatever this divorce plan idiots talk
Yeah.
about.
No,
It's
it's
some
Yemen.
Yemen type shit.
Yeah.
And
Unless we get lucky and turn into Russia and just have a nice kleptocracy where the oligarchs do whatever they want and everybody else tries to make a living.
well, notice that to have any of the good
Isn't that
stuff
what we've been doing?
that Yemen has,
I'm certainly headed that way.
they've got a whole ass army in there stomping around on them.
That's true.
We would need an interested third party.
All right, crumbling U.S. infrastructure melts under excessive heat.
Oh, yeah. This
That
is
sounds good.
So scorching temperatures caused Philadelphia public schools to suspend classes this week, while dozens of schools in the Baltimore area issued sweeping closures amid the blistering heat wave currently blanketing the Northeast. More than 35 million people have been put under a heat advisory, but as of this June, 18 schools in Baltimore, which just 2 years ago was struck by a 25-day stretch of 90-degree weather, breaking their 150-year-old record. But 18 of those schools still don't have air conditioning, while as many as 12 have air conditioning that doesn't work. So, anyway, and for those of you who think private business, right, can do better than the government, right, I want to remind you that in Texas, which had a major power outage, causing 246 people to freeze to death last year during a severe winter storm, is especially vulnerable to heat-induced outages because the state operates exclusively on one power grid to avoid federal regulations. If that grid falls due to outsized demand in the summer, which they're going to have, millions of Texans could be left stranded without power because the state is not authorized to borrow energy from other states.
Yeah, they've been talking about blackouts.
Yeah. No, it's going to happen. So, hey, turns out private industry probably did a little worse than Philadelphia. But in any case, everybody's fucking up. The infrastructure cannot tolerate the levels of climate change that we are talking about.
Do their nice neighborhoods manage to maintain power?
Do what?
Do their nice neighborhoods maintain power?
No.
Okay.
It was the
So
power
they didn't
grid
get the
is
full capitalism.
the power grid is more integrated than that. They did settle with the what was it called, Gritty, where they went from paying $28 per 1,000 kilowatt hours to paying $9,000 per 1,000 kilowatt hours. So you had people who did have electricity who were getting monthly bills of $8,000-9,000.
Jesus
Yep.
fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Surge pricing.
fucking go postal.
Anyway, that company went broke, and those bills did not have to be paid.
Okay.
So, and you know
Look
they,
at us. We're not fucked up the one time.
yeah. So we'll see if Texas has made any changes. The answer is they haven't. They're wholly owned by the power companies. So, and if you think for a second Texas is going to protect working folks, you're dumber than you look.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen time and time again, Texas always taking the not helping route.
Yeah.
All right, scare some gun nuts while you can.
All right. So, Rolling Stone obtained a bunch of strategy memos from a variety of conservative candidates and organizations that urge just changing the topic, letting the news cycle letting the news cycle change following the latest string of mass shootings.
Can you imagine how much money you could make if you were one of these strategy groups that keep these fucking
I
memos
know.
secret?
So stay cool, run out the clock, scare some gun nuts while you can. Right, they'll run by more guns.
Oh, yeah.
In the government, yeah.
All the stuff you figured they were doing, and no one has ever been dumb enough previously to lose control of the memo.
Absolutely. A memo of a top GOP Senate candidate urged them to ignore guns, talk inflation. Other documents predictably decried liberal desires for gun grabbing and gun confiscation, and made whataboutism type references to gun violence in Chicago, the standard Republican.
The
nonsense.
gun grabbing is the operative word there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
No.
once that found that that's the one that really triggers the pro-gun.
Yeah, it
Republican
really
base.
triggers those, but if you talk too much about it, you keep the mass shootings on, in the headlines. which is the last thing the Republicans want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get us running around like we are in the Senate right now, talking about new gun regulations and
Well,
so on. And we fell for it hook,
If
line,
I were
and
them,
sinker.
I'd rather talk about that than the hearings that are coming up, or there are 30 rulings coming out of the Supreme Court really quick soon
Mhm.
here. Some of them
Well, it's going to be
a
fun.
big
What
deal.
can I tell you?
Yeah.
So anyway, another one summarized it. The media will start chasing something else very soon. Republicans should stick to talking about issues that affect voters' lives. And I'm sorry to say, guns don't top that list. So
I'm not sorry to say that. I think
they're
that's probably
getting
a good
good.
thing.
They're getting good media advice, and the media falls for it hook, line, and sinker every time. Hey, Democrats, it's time to quit falling for it. So you watch what happens on the, new gun legislation and see how badly you've been fucked one more time, right? You're just Charlie Brown, right? Running toward that football.
Well, and
every
it's the easiest thing
goddamn
for the
time.
media to cut and package up as
yeah.
a horse race, and both sides have a point, and here's what they
Yeah,
want to talk about.
yeah, and the
Here's
Democrats failed
graphics.
dramatically and completely ineffectual.
Well, and they can talk
which
about
is
the
what you're going to
polling.
be, stupid.
It's worse than that, because they've got the polling that'll support us going in, talking about 78% of America
Yeah,
thinks there should be
absolutely.
common sense gun control things, because when you phrase it as common sense gun control, everyone agrees. Everyone likes snow cones and unicorns as well.
Right.
But as soon as you're like, hey, this idea in particular, oh shit, that
Oh
number
shit, no.
changes.
Yes. Right.
And
Less
depending on the
than
number.
50%. The only thing that there is more than 50% support for is better background checks.
Absolutely.
Right, across the board. And those have already been ruled
Yeah.
out by the Senate negotiators. So, anyway.
Of course.
Well,
Hey,
and a lot of this is the Democrats.
Mitch McConnell laid a trap for Biden,
I know.
and Biden is in the bottom of the pit.
The difference is, here's what's going to piss me off about all of this, because I know after what happens in the midterms happens, we're going to go into a bunch of Mr. Magoo references.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Magoo stumbled through that. It was like the Inspector Gadget thing.
right.
It's the variation on the baby's day out.
Right.
Anyway, that's not what's going to happen with Biden. This shit's going to get stuck to
No.
him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so speaking of guns, let's talk about why U.S. gun violence spikes in warm weather.
Well, we've known it forever,
Yeah.
right? The link's been written about for decades. Every police department knows that this is a trend. When the weather gets hot, violence goes up,
Yeah.
right?
This actually has a correlation, unlike the moon shit.
Well, and you're going to tell us about that correlation, because the one they're pointing out here is, well, that people have to be outside so you can shoot them, right? And if it's not warm outside, then people aren't outside, right? There's nobody around when it's cold.
Well, and if it's warm outside and you don't have air conditioning, you're outside.
You're outside, but more than that, it has interfered with your sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's one of the ways to make
cognitive
people
decline.
psychotically violent,
Yep.
is to interfere with their sleep.
Just momentarily violent is the problem. Humans are really badly built.
Yeah. So anyway, it turns out that climate weirding is gonna
Oh, yeah.
increase the
It's
violence
already
level.
cost us an hour,
Yeah,
is the math I saw last time.
which will increase violence across the board.
Yep. Just in terms of the quality of sleep we get because of
Yeah.
the heating and cooling issues we now have.
Yep.
All right, so let's work on a way to get electricity to everybody so people can have fucking air conditioners.
Absolutely.
Turns out I saw a thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, gun laws are causing mayhem and mass murder.
And Republicans are absolutely thrilled by it. So, Melissa Ryan wrote this for the Control Alt Right Delete newsletter. She says, for the right, mass shootings are a feature, not a bug. And as I've argued before at Salon, mass shootings are effective for Republicans at demoralizing their opposition and training their base to unlearn any lingering sense of empathy. Historian Ruth Ben-Shait argued in October in the Washington Post that gun violence fosters a message, political, social, and psychological conditions that are propitious for autocracy. A major GOP campaign message going into the midterms is that woke Democrats are letting them criminals run amok in the cities. And dramatic gun
double word
violence
store.
helps to solidify that message,
And that you need
which
to
is
buy
why
a
the
gun.
Republicans are guaranteed to block any bill that would make it even slightly harder for violent or unhinged people to get guns.
Yeah.
Because they thrive on the gun.
Yep.
So, just wonderful.
Well, and
And
the
again,
things
the
that
media
lobbies
fell
have-
for it hook, line, and sinker.
Yes.
And the Democrats fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And Biden took that bait
A
and
vicious
ran with
circle, that's what it is. The
Vicious
opposite
circle. Yeah.
of a virtuous circle.
Yes.
And that's to some extent what this is, because it also pushes for right out and buy you a gun, which sends money to companies that lobby Republicans heavily, because Democrats are looking to pass laws that say gun manufacturers should be in trouble when their product functioned exactly as promised on the side of the box.
Right. Which is to move a piece of lead in that direction.
And I'm not
at this
saying they
velocity.
haven't done other things that have fucking
Right.
it up, but
Yep.
All right. Updates with BoomerRex health threats.
Again, it looks like we have two related flavors of monkeypox circulating. One of them's been in circulation a long time. And because of the way it's being spread, the lesions tend to appear on limited regions of the body, and it's been misdiagnosed for the last 2 years. So, anyway.
does this mean we made
Is it a
monkeypox real on accident?
Maybe.
Is it a big threat? No. If somebody you know has monkeypox, then it is a threat to you, and you should consider being inoculated. We have vaccines for monkeypox, which will work after exposure as long as you get the vaccine before you become symptomatic.
I mean, I
So-
accidentally killed Earth 2037.
Maybe.
Okay. Because previously we had talked about monkeypox like very early in one of our shows, and
Mhm.
Reason and I fell about ourselves laughing at how that's how we want the world to end.
With
And I felt
monkeypox?
kind of bad because I didn't say slow zombies because I always say slow zombies.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
And then I made a joke we were gonna hit an asteroid or something, and I said, "Yeah, it's all fun and games. 'Cause then it's gonna hit Earth in 2037."
Right.
I'd be annoyed.
Oh, my God.
All right. Climate weirding.
All right, so we have our transsexual tropical storm. Agatha has now decided to re-identify as Alex. So, and dumped a whole bunch of water on Florida, which Florida did not handle gracefully.
No.
So,
Yet Miami didn't seem to be enjoying.
no. It's all those cars half full of water. Looked like that would piss me off.
Right?
So, if it were my car. Of course,
So I don't park my car in
so I have to
Florida.
pause for a story. I have a Miata. As near as I can tell, Miata has no drains in the floorboard
Yeah.
because it is so low slung. But I have ever driven my Miata through puddles deep enough that it came in over the door jams,
Oh no.
right? And it was freezing ass cold water. It was fucking terrible. And then the worst thing was the floor is sloped. So when I stepped hard on the brake at the first intersection, this great wall of ice water came up and washed my backside. It was awful.
That's what you get.
Yeah, took me a week to get that poor car dry again. So, but at least it didn't smell like a dog.
There you
My
go.
my old TR3 smelled like a dog.
That's caused
When
by
it was
bacteria.
wet.
That's caused by bacteria.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's a skin condition. You can treat it in dogs, then they don't have to smell
Yeah,
it.
okay. Well,
Or your cars.
my TR3 had horsehair padding
Yeah.
under the
Then
right, so
absolutely.
it seriously smelled like
Yeah.
wet dog. So anyway,
All right. So I promised.
no, wait a minute. I didn't finish cleaning.
Oh.
God, you're trying to cut me off again.
Yeah. Well, you stopped fucking talking, dude. Keep going.
All right.
Jesus. Kill
So, Japan is both power hungry and fossil fuel reliant. So anything we could do to change that reliance would be a good thing, right?
Hey, this is that thing.
And the problem with renewables, as always, is that they are not perfectly reliable power sources. Now, can we learn to live with less than reliable power sources? Absolutely. That's what the power wall is all about.
Yeah.
Store the energy locally, use it when. But in the interim, it would be nice to have a generating capability, right, which was renewable. And IHI has developed a subsea turbine right, which will draw energy from ocean flows. And in particular, the idea is that they will put it into one of the world's strongest currents, the Kuroshio current, and transmit that power via seabed cables, etc., etc., etc.
This isn't going to.
Their estimate of what you could draw from that current is 220 gigawatts. So for comparison, a good-sized reactor produces a gigawatt, right? So we're talking about a big change. Right now, it's not deployed, and we don't have long-term statistics on how well it holds up and so forth. But it is an interesting idea. And then the other half of that, of course, is the question of, if I take some energy out of this current, right? First of all, how much is there? Second, how much am I taking out? And third, what effects will
That's
that
more
have?
than enough to go back in time.
Oh, yeah, 1.21 gigawatts,
Uh-huh.
yes. So, and yes, there are reactors that can produce 1.21 gigawatts. Oh, so
sorry.
anyway, an interesting concept related to climate weirding.
Someone fetch me Michael J. Fox.
Now I'm done.
Or maybe the body of Michael J. Fox.
Are
Is he
you
dead?
sure, sir?
I'm
Have you
not. I
forgotten
need to look
something?
things up.
Well, you can look things up while she talks about her stuff.
Anyway, let's start, instead of talking about Fox News, about
yes.
Arizona man who drowned in a lake as 3 officers just stood there
And watch.
and watched.
Having
His
caused it.
wife screaming hysterically, telling them to go save him, and them saying, there's a boat on the way. He's fine.
Yep.
And
You know,
saying
we've
things
known
like,
about
we're
that.
not coming in after you. Just another example of how little cops give a fuck about your life in any moment.
And you know, we've known about this for months, right? The
Yeah,
only
the-
thing that
the
changed
body
here
cam
was the
released,
body
yeah.
cam. So, anyway.
Yeah, vaguely.
And
thought-
they have now been put on administrative leave, which is where they'll stay till they're exonerated. So, anyway, again, the Supreme Court has says they have no duty to help.
So, Fox News is, I decided to poke around, see what they're talking about, what's going on. Their big story right now, one of them, is abortion activists strip during Joel Osteen's church service.
Kids, you make me-
Overturn Roe, hell no, is what these women said.
When I
Cool.
heard this, I thought this was in the best histories of the Quakers and all the
Oh,
other,
yeah, absolutely.
right? Well, the Quakers did it more to be annoying, but still, nudity and protest have always gone hand in
Yeah.
hand.
What is the Russian group? The
No, Pussy Riot, but it's not that.
what's the
Is it? But anyway.
So what happened was at one of Joel Osteen's services this Sunday, one of those
Yeah.
mega church assholes.
God bother conventions.
Yeah, no, it was bad.
commercial big Galwa
He
dog?
was talking about whatever, and about 3 or 4 women stood up and took off their dresses. Now, they took off their dresses, but they were wearing sports bras and underwear, white sports bras, white underwear, and they're saying, my body, my fucking choice. And they start chanting this and shouting and get let out into, let outside, and then outside there was a bunch more people protesting and whatever. So, obviously Fox News is just completely scandalized by this.
Oh my God.
I'm torn. I'm still vibrating between the poles on this because part of me. I'm sorry. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
Part of me goes, fuck it. If you're gonna go in and do the thing, be naked, right? Have the fight be. If you would leave our shit alone, we'd leave your shit alone. That was the agreement we've all had, right? We have the peace of the back seat has held for how long?
Yeah.
We haven't done the I'm not touching you shit, but we can get right back into that if you want, crazies.
Yeah.
/ conservatives. I know you don't like it when I call you crazy. I'm sorry.
So what,
It's more accurate.
But
what one of the activists said is, I know it seems very outrageous to
not
do
really.
it in a church, in a private space.
Would have been if you were naked. I'm sorry.
However, the people that are enforcing these laws have no qualms coming up to women in private spaces, such as doctors' offices and medical clinics, to harass them and call them murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, fucking take it to their. If they're gonna take it to our house, we can take it to theirs. Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck right off. But yeah, this is Fox News was just absolutely scandalized. Like how?
What happens?
How dare?
Clutched them pearls so hard they got dust.
Right.
And then thought it was anthrax and ran in a circle for an hour. But
Oh.
no, like I said, I bounce back and forth on this because part of me goes, "Fuck them! You should have showed them some titty, like nipple."
That would really have scandalized them.
No, just a lot of the history about nudity and protests.
Yeah.
And yeah, do it. Like, first off, it is a church, and yes, I wasn't kidding. Leave us the fuck alone. We leave you the fuck alone.
Right.
Like, you know when this shit didn't happen? When you
Get
guys
out of my
were-
body, I'll get out of your aisle.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I think there's an impact on that happens from the nudity that isn't there.
Without it.
You play right
Yep.
up to the edge.
It is Pussy Riot, by the way.
Yes.
It's a feminist band and protest group in Moscow.
Indeed.
And they're always getting in trouble. I think some of them have gone to jail.
Yep.
And they're also all up in arms about President Biden not honoring the anniversary of D-Day.
Gotta love it.
It's the end of the world. He didn't celebrate D-Day. What the fuck?
Well, again,
Who
Busy.
cares anymore?
Busy
somebody on
living
the
out
White
World
House,
Wars II.
somebody on
I'm
the White
sorry.
House staff should be fired for this
I
nonsense.
got
But-
a lot of shit on my plate. I'm not worried about D-Day.
And that's what the response should have been.
Yep.
Is that we have bigger issues than failing to celebrate D-Day, which, by the way, we forgot to do.
We're busy learning the
Yeah.
lessons of, or living the lessons of, by confronting a strong
Don't
man
wait.
early in Europe. Not having to wait until we have to lie America over, and yeah.
Oh, but so I'm on their site right now, and they've issued a correction because their original story was about how he didn't celebrate it, and now
Wow.
they're saying President Biden issues end of day statement honoring 78th anniversary of D-Day. So we made a statement this evening
Oh, fucking.
talking about it,
Again,
and
God, this is why someone on the White House staff should be fired. Because if this isn't a bighorn to suck them in and blow the shit out of them, I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
we're doing.
And again, just caved. That's fine.
We thought it was inappropriate to, do pageantry before the end of the workday. We were busy doing important things.
Right.
We chose to honor D-Day by, getting the fucking job done.
Yeah. No, it would have been so easy.
Aye.
They need to hire us. God, we could have so much fun.
Right?
yeah, no, it's just a bunch
If you're
of
gonna fail, you can at least sound
Bullshit.
more like Westwood while you do it.
Yeah.
no, but they were all fucking bent out of shape, and
Oh,
now
yeah.
that he said something, they're like,
No, and they didn't
"Oh."
care. That's the thing. This is.
You don't think they
No,
cared
shut
whether
up, shut
D-Day
up.
was celebrated, do
You know,
you?
do you know what they're now using this as a chance to talk about the
Both the
importance
United
of
States.
D-Day?
Lucky I
Don't
can't remember the
worry.
muggings. It's called muggings in cribbage. Is that the one? Where when they fuck up their math, you can steal the extra points they didn't get. Maybe it's spades.
I have
Internet,
no
write
idea.
me and let me know. What the fuck am I talking about?
Remind me,
But
I'll ask my parents.
there's
they
a
play
math
cribbage.
game with cards, and if you don't add up your points right, the other guy you're playing against can steal the fucking points you didn't claim.
I love it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
This was Fox being able to piss on Biden on the way out without having to step one step outside their current trajectory.
Absolutely.
Cost him no energy and it's cheap fucking heat.
And typical of Biden, the response of his team didn't
Was
gain
milquetoast.
any ground.
Yeah.
It was milquetoast.
It barely returned the fucking serve.
Yeah.
Right? You need to make these kids afraid
Oh, I
to
don't
step
think
on the
they
fucking
returned
court.
the serve. I think this was a heavy hit straight
Hey
into
man,
the net.
whatever. It got on the other side of the net. That's all I give a shit about. It inched itself over so they didn't actually fuck up.
Okay, if you insist.
I'm feeling generous to me.
Yeah, you must be.
In the name of D-Day or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thanks for all the people.
Which we should have just called fucking International Punch a Nazi Day.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's just, I don't know. I mean, I know.
And do some local celebrations.
I was gonna say, do you know a fascist? Go burn their stuff down. Do not burn each other's stuff down the internet.
I'm not saying D-Day wasn't important. I'm not saying it wasn't a big thing or anything
But there are
like
much bigger things to worry
But
about
yeah,
today.
I'm sorry. I've got so much on my fucking plate right now. D-Day can fucking wait until, I don't know.
And
we
that
get
was
this
your
all
response, and
sorted
Joe Biden and his staff couldn't come up with that answer,
The dead
given
are
all fucking day to think of it.
That was the first thing I said
All
to Axel
these
when
dead in
I read
particular
it. Is
aren't
I was
all
like,
that pushy
I
about
just-
being honored.
I was
Oh,
like,
Jesus
who gives
Christ.
a
Oh my
fuck?
God.
We've got so much going on
The
right
fucking
now.
speech writes itself. Go break their fucking backs, White House Communications Department.
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, I think I should be the person who does the speeches for Joe Biden.
They have to return things to normal.
Answer these assholes' questions. Be like, no, that's not even gonna talk to you anymore. I'm not calling on
I
you.
thought our struggle in UK to fight growing fascism in Europe was the best way
Good
to
old
honor
half-step
their
milk
fucking
toast Biden.
sacrifice. To make sure that their sacrifice wasn't in
Yep.
vain.
Yep. Didn't they used to call him
To
Amex
not have to
Biden?
buy those beachheads again.
Yeah.
All right, so
That seems a better way to
don't
honor those
forget
kids.
to
Yes,
comment,
absolutely.
like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight. Don't forget, if you go to Google and you put in BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to
All
us.
roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
You know, she's almost ready to do the auction thing.
No. No. Auctioneering that's messed up.
Oh.
That's not easy. I don't think it can be. But anyway, so we love you all, and we will see you back here tomorrow night on BoomerRex tonight.
But in honor
Good
of
night,
D-Day,
y'all.
we should talk about the USS Texas, who really did flood parts of her ship to get a better angle to provide fire to the storming troops.
I love that.
So,
Yep.
Well done.
So they couldn't depress their guns far enough?
yep.
So
But it
they,
turns out you can open some watertight doors, invite some water in for lunch.
yep. Actually, I expect they have ballast tanks, and you can fill the ballast tanks. No? They had to flood
I
compartments?
do believe.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Anyway.
but
Yeah, we'll come back tomorrow with the
and
story
Michael
of the
J. Fox is
USS
still
Texas.
alive. At least as far as the Wikipedia knows.
Cool.
Okay.
He was the last of the world.
Good night, y'all.
Goodbye.